Hello listeners, this is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard! Kai Havertz in the Champions League final! Ivanovic! Yes. In the middle, it's just behind him, but it's tapped in by Higgins here. Matic with the ball driver! Matic takes the net off! Hat-trick hero! Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game!
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode, wow, Southampton suck. Oh, welcome back everyone to another episode of At the Bridge Pod, and I'm joined in a virtual room filled with some lions. I have got Ollie, I have got Berth, I have got my cat Tom, and it is the Friday show on a Friday, and I want to know what you are all looking forward to this very weekend.
I've actually got quite a good one this weekend. I'm on a stag do tomorrow.
Very nice.
There we go.
Very nice. Gonna get messy, is it?
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm going with the lads from work, and a few of them sometimes listen to this show. So shout out if they do listen. They are listening to this episode. Then I finally gave them, a shout out. So especially my manager Adam and Bronson, they'll be so pleased. I've just mentioned their names as well. So big shout out to them. But yeah, it's going to be really messy tomorrow, so I can't wait for it, to be honest.
10's only season. Some of this listeners there going, I got that reference. I got that. Go on, Ollie, what are you doing? No quiet one, please.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm sorry.
Boo this man.
Listen, I try and come with something most weeks, but you know what? You lot don't want to. I know you guys don't want to hear about me working every weekend. It's boring.
You know what you are, Ollie? You're like Maresca. You're just not changing things, mate. You need to change things of a weekend. Maybe, spice it up a bit.
Right.
No.
Right. I'm doing my baking. You already know that. Literally am itching to go on Marvel Rivals tonight, but I've got to get up really early in the morning because I have to wash my hair to get my hair done. Hair appointment. Yeah, look at the life I lead. Lovely. But I took some time to do my games of the weekend. So Mike's games of the weekend. And of course, all time zones, all times are GMT. And Saturday, 12:30, Sky Sports. I'm dipping into the Championship. I don't do it often, but Oxford United, hear me out, listener. Frank Lampard's Coventry City. Can he extend the win streak to 4? Oof. I hope so. Big game.
Super Frankie Lampard.
Damn right.
He's doing
great job
well.
Over there,
so well. 5 p.m. Serie A title race. Oh yes, please. Napoli, Ooh. Inter Milan, second, first. I'm looking forward to this because it's the emotion of the game. It's going to be so intense that whoever loses, I think that could derail their season. That's how intense it's going to be.
I'm backing into Milan for that because I think Napoli still won't have recovered from losing to Cesc Fabregas's Como.
Yes, big. That was a big result. 5:30. So you might have to double screen here. Germany, Leverkusen, Frankfurt, second versus third. Let's see. Can they get that win? Leverkusen get closer to Bayern? Who knows? 8 p.m. I've got so much on. 8 p.m. La Liga, big one. Atletico Madrid, Athletic Bilbao, third, fourth. Simeone's men versus a team that makes you realise Spain does have more than Real Madrid and Barcelona and Atletico. Athletic Bilbao, I like to think they're like the second favourite team for a lot of people because they're just so, the Basque policy and everything, incredible. And Sunday, we've still got some for Sunday. For some reason, I haven't wrote a time down, so that's helpful. AC Milan versus Lazio, when is that? Because, no weekend is complete without a trip to the San Siro. But what time is this? I'm sorry, listener. I have got to quickly check this because that is embarrassing. Typical me. 7:45. There you go. 7:45 UK time. So basically, what I've just told you is there is so much football. So that's the football coming up. Watch it. Watch the football. Watch it. Wow. Watch it. It's going to move. Watch the football. It's football. So much football. So
yeah, I love that clip.
Just watch it. Watch it. Watch the football. Watch it. Oh. Right. What I am prepared for, though, is for the first time in weeks, is the news. I'm absolutely in love with this because we're going to go one floor. It feels like one floor in the elevator of Chelsea news. Let's just check it out. Chelsea's 2025-2026 home and away kits have leaked. Wes Fofana has returned from injury. Chelsea owner Todd Boehly has spoken at the Financial Times Business and Football Summit on Thursday evening on a number of topics. And finally, Anthony, yes, his red card against Getafe has been overturned, meaning he can play this weekend against Real Madrid. And according to AS, this provoked a bit of a response from Real Madrid after they are pretty still pissed about the handling of Bellingham being, he was sent off. He's actually been banned. And a source told the Spanish outlet, it can't be in their eagerness to go hunting against Madrid. They are even skipping the legal arguments, removing a red card that has been clearly assessed by the refereeing body and well explained in the report is as if the referees from now on are going to re-referee the matches. They don't hold back. They have done it with the desire to hurt us. They have declared war on us and used all imaginable means, even if they expose the very referees that they claim to defend so much. In 24 hours, we have witnessed what we can call a hunt for everything that smells of Real Madrid. First, they set us an awful time for the game against Villarreal so that we have less rest than Barca and Atleti and thus favour a bad result there. Then Tebas loses respect for our coach, who is a blessing, respected by everyone except the president of the Liga and vice president of the federation. And now the thing with Anthony. And guys, I've saved the best bit to last. They attack us by land, sea and air. They don't hold back. Even so, we will fight to the end with pride. We will not bow our heads in the face of such foolishness.
Jesus, it's fucking football. It's
What's
not a
going on?
revolution.
It was
Yeah.
going on?
Like all of it made me chuckle. It was the bit where they went, they attack us by land, sea and air.
I know,
Like-
I like that. Oh.
Someone, that's the very much thing that someone was. They were at first they were a little bit pissed off, so they were just having a little bit of a moan, and then it went into a full blown rant to the point where you're like, "What are you on about?" Like Mourinho
it
used to yell,
escalated.
"Conspiracy against Chelsea, but land, sea and air."
Oh, that's so.
I
Yeah,
wanna
Chelsea,
know-
it's Lancey and Leicester.
Oh my word! I want to know who this source was. I
That is just bizarre, isn't it?
Oh,
Like,
it's
how is,
hilarious.
and
Oh.
also stop being a big baby about it. Get over it. You're the best team probably ever to have existed. Get over it.
When Carlo Ancelotti is telling you the difference between fuck off and fuck you, it's like, what's going on? What is going on? Look, Boehly. He addressed those concerns about the club and more speaking in London on Thursday. This is every word he said. I'm going to narrow this down because otherwise I'll be bored. So on the Chelsea fan criticism, he was basically saying it's par for the course. The sooner you learn you are not going to keep all the people happy all the time, the freedom shows up. We're just trying to execute a plan and recognise things aren't linear and we're trending in the right direction. The trend is moving in the right direction and that's the thing that really matters. Yes, he did repeat himself. In June, he says about it'll be 3 years in charge. And that's not a lot of time, especially when you get to 50, 60 or 70 years old in life. He then talks about the ownership dynamic. This is interesting, I think. The one thing I've learned about the British press is they exaggerate a lot and leave stuff out. I'm not going to comment. We've agreed on a strategy and a way forward and stuff is getting done. I don't look in the rearview mirror. He then suggests that the Premier League could have like an investor. So there's maybe like on one platform like the NFL, Netflix sort of thing. And how the product will
I would
evolve.
pay so much money for that. Please do it.
Yeah, I think we all would.
It would be nice. I mean, let's be honest. We pay so fucking much to every like TNT. It's too much. There's too much. He did talk about relegation. He said that that's one of the challenges in football, but it's hard to price. If everyone was equal, you'd have a 15% chance of relegation, but everyone isn't. So you have to work out it's cultural and not going anywhere. So why not every season when a team is in the Premier League, you get one share of EPL stock, and even if you go down, you keep that stock. So okay, and
That's kind of a cool idea.
It's interesting. I mean, it's got parachute payments, I suppose. But
Yeah.
the most misunderstood thing about the Chelsea project is we're thinking about measuring success in years. You have to think both short and long term. They're focused on the combo and both of those things and seeking the best way to execute it. I love this. Strikers are hard to find. You don't go into the grocery store and say, I'm going to get a striker. It is an amazing skill set and you have to have the right mentality. Yeah, like I said, I've never gone into a local Tesco and seen Liam Delap for sale and gone, oh, bloody hell. This is interesting. Todd Boehly, when he was asked if the Chelsea ownership will be the same by this time next year, I can't predict the future.
Yeah, he's just his political answer, isn't it?
I was
you
like,
know. Can I tell you how I feel about all these comments, really?
Go on.
Well, I mean, I should hope that we can talk about it, considering this is the podcast. I just don't care. if I'm completely honest,
we do not care.
Because
I
it's
know what
just
you
like
mean.
because like we spend every day, like every second of every day, microanalyzing absolutely every little thing every person in the ownership says all the time, and
Yeah.
it's just like, all right, if they believe it's something's going to happen, then great. If they believe it's going to be good, then fine. Like if it is, we'll see if it is. But I can't like a lot of other people get angry about people saying things like this. I just don't have the energy in me.
Yeah, I've zoned out myself. Berth, anything before we move on?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a difficult one, really, because let's face it, this ownership has got, rightly or wrongly, a lot of stick. And I mean, I'm like you boys, I'm not really too bothered about what they're saying. But I will kind of defend them in a way because, and this is probably going to cause a lot of controversy, but they're not here to, they want us to do well, and they do want us to do well. Whether you like how they're going about it or not, they do want us to do well. Because like I said before, it's a business. They want the business to be thriving. I think Todd Boehly is a very good businessman. Do I think he's got great ideas for football and how to run a football club? I'm still not convinced. But he's tried to set a project up. He's tried to get a plan going, and he's sticking by his guns, and you can't knock him for that. I will kind of respect him in that sense. But yeah, it's I ain't too bothered really, but I kind of will defend him and say that he does definitely want us to do well. Whether we do or not is another story, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will move on to hold up.
I knew this was coming.
Bloody, I didn't expect this. It's becoming regular, isn't it, listener? Chelsea know recruitment hasn't been perfect under Winstanley and Stewart, but they believe the squad is now set up for long-term success. Future windows will focus on minor tweaks rather than major overhauls. Chelsea's ownership rates Winstanley and Stewart far higher than many fans do, with supporters questioning their competence and holding them just as accountable as Maresca for the team's recent slump. If Chelsea's form drops further and they fall out of the Champions League race, Maresca's possession could be at risk. But Winstanley and Stewart's roles are secure. The ownership sees their work as long-term and far beyond just transfers. Fuck me.
Yeah,
honestly,
my word. It's one of them. You're like, really, again?
Honestly, there's less propaganda in Soviet Russia. Like it's absolutely ridiculous.
What's with PR recently? Like, we really push it.
It's a propaganda war, mate. I think it's the stuff with the protests. There's a battle over the narrative. We'll see at the moment. I think that's part of it for sure. And the result of that is we have to listen to all this shite that comes out.
Yeah, no, I have to listen to myself twice. Remember, listener, I'm saying it now, and then I have to edit the episode, so I have to hear it again. And sometimes I listen to the episode back, so that's again. But one important thing we will end the news on before we head to the winners and losers seg. Just want to highlight, we highlighted on Monday, and we'll highlight it again. An incredible initiative coming up by our partners Head in the Game. It's a free 12-week mental fitness football program aimed at improving both mental and physical well-being for men over 18. The first session kicks off in Dartford on Thursday, the 20th of March at 7:30 p.m. at Goals Dartford. It's a fantastic opportunity. It really is, to connect, to stay active, of course. That's very important as well, and support each other through football. It's our details are on the social media platforms that we all have out. It's also on our Instagram. So if you or someone you know could benefit, check them out, please.
Be there or be square. It's a good initiative.
And that means you won't be around. Hey, I learned that. I was so impressed when someone told me that. I was like, do you know what the origin of be there or be square? I was like, no. I was like, simple minds, listener. That's my simple mind for you. So, winners and losers.
Hang on. I had one more piece of news because I didn't know if you were going to cover it or not. There was headlines come out today that saying we're not looking for a goalie in the summer, basically.
I don't like that news. I don't like that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to cry.
The general gist of it was between Jorgensen, Sanchez, Petrovic, and Penders that we won't.
Great.
That one of them will rise to the top, and that's kind of depressing because unless Petrovic comes back and actually gets his chance to come back, when I don't know how likely that is because he was kicked out under Maresca, although he has improved a lot. or unless Penders becomes a world beater, we're going to struggle for a while.
Oh, yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I mean, remember when I just said, I kind of appreciate what they're doing and want the best of the team? Maybe I was wrong.
Quick U-turn that.
Maybe I was wrong,
right.
yeah.
Right, time for that midweek match report because Chelsea took on Southampton in the Premier League. Chelsea ended their 3-game slide with a breezy 4-0 drubbing of Southampton, a team leaking goals faster than a busted pipe. But let's be honest, beating this Saints side is like winning an arm wrestling contest against a jellyfish. Even before kick-off, the mood was quite tense. There was a vocal crowd outside Stamford Bridge, posters in hand, reminding our Todd Boehly and Clear Lake that this is Chelsea, not some long-term investment experiment. Maresca, he played the optimist. We're still in third, just a point off third. Sure, coach. And a parachute slows your fall, but it doesn't mean you're flying. On the pitch, it was procession. Christopher Nkunku, who might already feel like part of Chelsea's past given the club's transfer carousel, nodded in the opener, then set up Pedro Neto for the second. Levi Colwill and Mark Cucurella piled on, while Southampton did their best impression of a team that had already checked out of the Premier League. So, Chelsea, they got the win, they needed it, but did they win back the fans? Not quite. The disconnect runs deeper than results. Injuries, chaotic recruitment and a revolving door squad have left supporters wondering what this club even stands for anymore. Did I say Chelsea 3? Southampton 0? Oh dear.
Yeah, I believe you did, yeah.
I thought I was hearing that back and going, that was not correct. Well, Chelsea scored 4.
Casually not counting Cole's goal. I get your agenda, Marty. I understand.
Chelsea did score 4. Southampton scored none. And of course, winners and losers, because we always kick off with the winners. But I always ask, how many have we got in total? I've got 3 and 3.
Yeah, I've got 3 and 3.
3 and 3 here as well.
Right.
Well done.
You know
well
what?
Done.
Well, because I knew it was going to be a birth one tonight. You can't mess with the formula when births are around.
No, I turned up. We all turned up.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate it, boys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Right, I'm going straight in for mine. Oh, Enzo Fernandez versus Southampton. 6 chances created, 3 big chances created, 2 out of 2 accurate crosses, 4 out of 4 accurate long balls, 5 out of 5 ground duels won, 7 defensive recoveries. Wow, what an upward curve. Enzo Fernandez, my first winner on Tuesday. Massive performance. Quarterback. He was quarterback throwing, well, passing it, obviously. Honestly, Tom Brady would have been nodding in approval. And I've got to say it, Chris, you're not on his show, but you've been pretty positive about him recently. I think he's actually been good all season.
Yes, I'd agree.
This is
At least
the first.
most of it.
Look, listener knows, we all know, this is the first time a men's team player has earned the sacred Stat Drop Club treatment all year. All of this year. I mean, it's only been 2 months, but yeah, I mean, I'd say possibly since November, maybe. I mean, that's kind of how rare this level of playing well has been. And it continues from his previous game against Villa. And we all remember that. We talked, Chris said it. He showed so much emotion when we lost. And you know what? I'm now buying stock in him. I'm sold. I'm starting to think, you know what? Got a player there. You know, we spent a lot, but we got a player. He's turning up. I don't know whether he was on your winners list.
Yeah, he weren't on mine. He weren't on mine, to be fair. But what I will say is he was going to be, but I thought someone would put him in. But I mean, I think Enzo Fernandez, for me, has been arguably our best player in the past 2-3 games. And I think what's good about Enzo Fernandez, whether you like him or not, his passion is unrivaled. You could say he's probably arguably the most passionate person in the team at the minute. And his performances recently have been very, very good. I thought against Villa, he was our best player. And I thought against Southampton, you could argue he's one of our best players again. Yeah. And he is getting to I agree with you, Mike. I think all season he's been very, very good, especially when he's playing well. And that game against Spurs, I thought he was unbelievable, to be honest. 100%. So he's good. And you know what? I don't mind him being a captain either at the moment. So
it's a great upward arc. Oh, did you say he was on your list, Ollie?
He is indeed. Oh, captain, my captain. What a performance that was. Yeah. I mean, listen, we're going to have to taper everything that we say around Southampton shit. Don't think about it too hard. But it was a really, really good performance. You'd be proud of that performance against anybody. You know, even at the Dog and Pheasant even in the Dog and Pheasant Sunday League side, if we were playing then, I would be happy with that performance because he was absolutely everywhere, doing absolutely everything he was supposed to do, both sides of the ball. whatever issues he's had before, whether it was with his hernia or his fitness or tactically, we are now starting to see the best out of Enzo Fernandez again, and he makes such a difference when he is on.
I think it
really
says a
impressive.
lot when you're rated so highly in a game where you didn't contribute a goal or an assist. That just says
Yeah.
it all. That's how
Yeah.
good he was.
He's been really, really involved lately. I've been really
Yeah.
impressed with his work ethic, his work rate, his leadership. I've been impressed with a lot of things about him lately, and it feels like I think I said, I might have said this after the game against Villa. It feels a little bit like he's doing the same thing Caicedo did, just slower, and which kind of makes sense because he's taken longer to adapt to the league. And now we're kind of starting to finally see his quality shine through, not just like from the start when under Potter, for example. But we're seeing him on all sides of the ball now, and yeah, really, really impressed.
Berth, who was your first winner?
So I'm gonna go for Pedro Neto.
Yeah, he was my other one.
Lovely.
Because like Enzo Fernandez, I think Pedro Neto's arguably been one of our better players recently. I think I like him in this false nine role. I really do like him, and look, he's not like a Mateta, for instance. You're not going to ping the ball up to him and he's going to hold it up and then play it after someone.
I mean, you say that, but like his hold-up play is surprisingly
no,
good.
he's good. Look, but like he's not going to win headers. He's good on the ball. He's very good on the ball, but he's not going to sort of like cause problems for defenders in the air. He's not this big bully in centre forward, is he? But
no, Holland he ain't. But
no, yeah, exactly. But I think what is impressive about Neto is his movement. He drifts out wide, his pace. He gets in behind. He can finish. And he's a real handful for defenders. That pace is so hard to defend against. And as a lad who plays football, you know, at centre back as well, whenever someone is quick up front, you always worry, and he's always going to be a scare. So I like this false nine position for him, and I thought he was just terrific all game. And the ball, the assist for Levi Colwood's goal was hasn't got talked about too much, to be honest, but it was an unbelievable ball with like a picture perfect assist for him. So yeah, he's on my winners list.
My second winner is Tyreek George. Don't know if anyone else had him.
No, I didn't.
Look, it's because he became the youngest Chelsea player to register a Premier League assist since Callum
good for him.
Hudson-Odoi, since Hudson-Odoi against Newcastle in October 2019. And look, when he came on, he looked sharp. Yeah. I'm not. By the way, I'm not about to just go. He is a Ballon d'Or winner. No, look. He
was good.
He's very, very raw. He's very young and he's got plenty to learn. But there is talent. There is talent there. And whether his future is at Chelsea or elsewhere, because you never know with our club, one thing's for sure, some club is going to be very lucky to have him if we're stupid enough to sell him. So
the thing I really like about Tyreek George, he's not afraid to shoot.
Which is nice in our team, isn't it?
Yeah, like in our team, actually, that really makes a difference because you need someone who's at least going to have a go. And I think he's been sort of been growing into the season quietly, you know, like hasn't had a huge amount of opportunities, but whenever he's had them, I think he's never looked like he doesn't belong. And I think as a youth player, that's kind of the best you can really look for.
Yeah. Berth, who was your second
winner? My second winner is Christopher Nkunku.
Oh,
I didn't have him, but I knew he'd get picked because he phenomenal game for me.
Yeah, I thought Neto. I thought he was very, very good and a real handful for Southampton. Goal and assist. I thought he was very good on the ball again. Movement was really sharp. And look, we know it's Southampton. We have to kind of lower our standards a bit. But I thought he was very good all game, very lively, and it was good to see him sort of show a bit of passion after he scored as well. I did like that, and he's going to get a run of games now as well with Jackson out for a bit, so hopefully he can sort of grasp the chance. Yeah, because there is definitely a player in there, and he can definitely do it in the Premier League. It's just whether we can get the best out of him and what position he's best at. And I do kind of like him on that left hand side, sort of cutting in, especially Neto up front. They play well off each other, so yeah, he's a winner for me.
You know what? My third winner is just a nice, easy one. It's my expectations. Before the game, I said anything less than a 4-0 win would be a disappointment. Chelsea scored 4. My expectation was met. And look, let's be real. At the end of the day,
it's not a real game.
I understand because this was the bare minimum against the Southampton side that, with all due respect, they look more League One than Premier League. They suck, and it was a comfortable win. And I think, yes, we won. Hopefully, it puts us on to better things. Let's not get carried away. There's much to do still, much to improve on, but we won. And, we won. We didn't win scrappy. We didn't win 1-0, which is the main thing. So, yeah, well done. Ollie.
Just I'll quick fire my last two. My second one was Pedro Neto, Berth. Really impressed with his hold-up play and stuff at the moment. Really like his energy. Really like his commitment. He plays that kind of channel running forward really well because of course he is a winger, so it's something he is able to do. But like I said, really impressed with the physicality of his game at striker. I mean, some of those Southampton centre backs are not small, and he was holding them off. And Pedro is not Neto. He's not a big guy at all. He's kind of scrawny. He's kind of one of those quicker wingers. You don't really expect him to be more of a physical presence. So it says to me how well he's able to use his body when he actually does play there. Yeah. And I've seen more out of him in the last couple of games playing in that position than I have basically from him all season. Which I think that's got to count for something. And my last winner is Liu. Because like you mentioned, Mikey, Tyreek George comes on, plays good sort of 20 minutes, gets an assist, which is important. Achiampong comes on, Amugu comes on, who's young as well, and Mweka, probably one of our youngest players to ever come on in a Premier League game at 17 odd years old. That's crazy for him, and great for him too. Massive achievement and a big result for Cobham. That so if our team was young before we made our substitutions, oh my god, after it might be one of the youngest Premier League teams ever.
I'm just going to look. Berth, let us know your final winner whilst I look see who the youngest debutant for Chelsea ever was. Go on, Berth.
My final winner was Mark Cucurella.
Yeah,
nice.
Can't argue
there. I thought, again, very, very good. Consistent pretty much all the season as well. I think he's having a good season where I'm not convinced by the other three players that are sort of next to him. I won't count Reece James in that, but I think he's a standout defender for me at the moment. Real solid all game. Great goal as well. Really, really good goal. Took it really well. Again, another one that shows a lot of passion, which I like. I just thought I think he got man of the match on BT Sports or TNT Sports, whatever they call it these days. So, yeah, for me, he had to be on the winners list.
I really like his penguin celebration. Do you like that? It's funny because it's one of those things a player who you almost can't imagine anyone else doing a celebration like that and kind of getting away with it because it's a bit silly and a bit stupid.
Yeah,
but it kind of pulls it off.
Yeah, I think what makes it is because of his hair.
Yeah,
and his sort of personality.
You're actually spot on.
I think if someone like Erling Haaland did that, you'd be like, "What are you doing?" But because it's Michael Cucurella, you're like, yeah, okay.
You'd be like, that fits somehow.
I've got our youngest ever debutant, Ian Hamilton, central midfielder. He made his debut on March 18th, 1967. 16 years old, 4 months, 15 days.
Crikey, one for the old heads, that one.
Yeah. Okay, losers. Now, look, we have to pick losers. We have to. And I've got Cole Palmer. Yep.
Yeah, I have him as well.
Yeah,
a hat trick. Not the best, not three of the best. Look, listeners, you know me well. I like to be a bit stupid with my humour and just have a laugh at the game in general. And when I tweeted Cole Palmer went from being the Premier League's fairy tale prince to Cinderella after midnight, the magic's gone, the carriage is a wheelbarrow and the glass slipper is now a crock. A few non-listeners did get out a pitchfork. I felt it. I felt the
people weren't happy. I saw that.
I was like, ow. Look. Come on. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. I'm not, I know he's still an incredible player. But let's be honest, that was his 7th game without a goal. 2 big chances missed and a 43% shot accuracy. Not a performance to write home about, and he's meant to be our game changer player. Sadly, it's great to see us win when he's not performing because that is still positive on the team because we have been very reliant on him. But bloody hell, he's just not been good, and it's a real shame.
Yeah, he's really struggled lately. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's fitness related. He's just playing too many games. Maybe it's a confidence thing. He's playing within himself. I see him snatching at chances. Like I see him,
Yes.
like from close range. I see him being selfish. That's not the Cole Palmer we know and love. Like that's a different Cole Palmer who's just not the player we've been seeing most of the time he's been in a Chelsea shirt. So hopefully he can get over whatever he's going through at the moment. I'm not going to dig him out too hard because he's done way more good for us than bad. But
Yeah.
God, he's got to sort it out.
I think you can kind of let him off though, to be honest with you, because he's been so good for us. Like every great player has a bad patch every now and again, and I think one thing you can say about Palmer is when he says he's going to come back, he will come back.
Yeah,
he's not going to be one of those players.
He knows, doesn't he? He knows he's not playing.
He ain't going to be one of those players
level.
which just fades into the distance now. He will be back, and you just know he will.
I think the problem with Palmer at the moment, and you wouldn't I don't think you'd ever accuse Cole Palmer of this, but you might be thinking about it too hard.
I definitely think he's trying. No, but
wow.
I actually think he's trying to. I definitely think there's an element of I can do this. What he needs is just a tap in. That's all he needs.
Yeah, he just needs
a goal
one
back,
to go in off his arse or something, and then that way it all come flooding back to him. The second he scores a goal, I'll make a biscuit bet here. Actually, the next time he scores a goal in a game, he'll score at least a brace.
You know what? He needs a Fernando Torres against West Ham moment. We need a really heavy rain day. Maybe April. Oh no, April's a couple of months away. Let's not do April. That would not be good.
Maybe an unseasonable rainy March.
Yeah. Oh my God. Right. Talking of I've got nowhere how I can segue to this. So fuck it. Goal celebrations I've got, and I'm looking at you, Pedro Neto. I'm looking at you, Levi Colwill. Look, that if I'm honest, their celebrations, they weren't aimed at Southampton fans. That was for the Chelsea fans. And I have to ask, who exactly have you silenced? You've done the absolute bare minimum against a team that, with all due respect, they're League One, I said earlier. Maybe I'll up them to Championship quality. This wasn't prime Barcelona, and nobody is going to be putting out a look at this Southampton team documentary. They're not. And I genuinely...
not one's in a positive light anyway.
No, I genuinely found the pair embarrassing. And considering how poor Colwill's been lately, just you scored a goal. Great. You need to chill. I'm sorry. That celebration was unnecessary. It's just unnecessary because it's one moment. You've got to do it over multiple games to go, because otherwise it's just like, really?
Can I push back on you on that?
I would love you to, please.
So I completely get where you're coming from with that because it annoys me. It annoyed me in the moment as well. I'm like, why are you? Like we're actually winning a game now, and you're playing well for the first time in fucking ages, and you're shushing the fans. And I think in those moments, we've got to cut them a little bit of slack and remember that like these players, they're human beings after all. They do hear about what goes on around, like in the club. They see what people are saying about them on social media. They probably hear like the boos and the abuse in the stadium, like especially when Jorgensen had his foot on the ball. I don't know if anyone's got that as a loser, but it probably should be an honorary one. And like, I think it's unnecessary, and I think it's a little unfair to expect them not to give it back a little bit, because at the end of the day, they are people. I know it for a fact. If that was me, and I was getting dogs abuse every day online, like in my job, everything like this. If I did something that was good, I would want to give it back a bit. And so I think you just got to remember that they're reacting probably how most of us would. And these are young guys at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, for the record,
like you say, it's only Southampton. They're sort of giving it the big one when you've really done the bare minimum. But at the same time, I don't think any of us would do anything differently.
I must say, for the record, the abuse that I've read on it, it's just disgusting. It is not, like we do on this show, we criticize. There's a difference. There's a difference when you have constructive criticism. Like it's like I saw this week with the posts on, I think it was on Instagram on Madueke. I'm like, what was that fan doing? Let's just quote marks here, fan. I mean, what are you doing? Don't do that. That's absolutely embarrassing. Madueke wasn't the best replying. I would have personally ignored the guy. I understand why they clap back. I do understand. I really do, because we've seen the abuse they get. It's just wrong.
The thing is, right, is like footballers 20 years ago, they could just they could tone it out. Oh, like
Yeah,
they just
that's
don't
true.
read the newspaper. You know, they just don't put on the sports news channel or whatever on their telly or whatever. Now you just can't escape the criticism wherever it is because like they're so clued in online. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
said, the young guys are not going to not have like a social media presence. They're not going to not
Mhm.
know what people are saying about them because
Yeah.
it matters to them. And
Yeah.
so it's impossible to escape it now. Like you know, so they can't just necessarily ignore it all the time because they're probably dealing with more of it than players back then
Yes.
used to.
Social media is very
Mm.
toxic, and that's one thing you've just said over 20 years. This is sort of similar, but it's obviously different. But that's like being when you were at high school, and everyone's probably related to it at some point when someone was like a bully towards you, and bullying used to stop at the end of the school day, and now it can be continuously online. And that again, it's
Yeah,
that social media, the toxic side of social media that is just disgusting, and it's just not policed properly, and it's not hard
cheers,
policed
Elon.
hard enough. It's not policed hard enough because it is disgusting and wrong, and it needs to be stamped out. It really, really, really does. Berth, second loser, please.
Well, Ollie slightly mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to go for playing out from the back.
Yeah, I
Um,
figured someone might mention it.
Oh,
yeah, Jorgensen cannot do it. And then the comments that Maresca made the other day were quite ridiculous, really, because that wouldn't fill Jorgensen with much confidence. Yeah, and it's not just on Jorgensen either. I actually think Colwell and Tosin. Colwell, for someone who thinks he's really good on the ball, isn't actually that great on the ball. I think he gives away the ball a lot. Yeah, he can play the odd good pass, but I think he's actually not that great on the ball.
You hate him, honestly.
No, I think he's a good defender, but I don't think I do just think he's
I'm
overrated.
just pulling your leg, mate.
And Levi, if you are listening to this, I'm really sorry, man. I think you're very, very good. But no, I totally
You're shushing Berth specifically. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he probably listened to this podcast. But I think Tosin as well. I don't think Tosin ever looks comfortable on the ball, and I think it just doesn't work. But the problem is when you've not got that focal point up front, and especially Neto. To be fair, you might as well just play it long. You know, you might as well just play it long and get him behind and just get out of danger because the fans were getting on Jorgensen's back. I think it was too slow in the build-up. Move the ball a bit quicker. You don't have to pump it long, but just move the ball a bit quicker and stop giving us all a heart attack.
You know what? I'm with you there. Like, I don't even feel like he necessarily had to smash it long, but like it's just like there was maybe 2 or 3 or 4 instances where he stood there with his soul on the ball, and clearly that's what Maresca wanted him to do. But that you could see the fans in the stadium getting really agitated, and that wasn't helping.
The thing is, like I said, like we haven't got like someone big up front like a Haaland or a Mateta, but we have got a Pedro Neto. So the odd time you can kick it up long and try and get him behind the defence because let's face it, Southampton aren't the best, so you might as well just try something different. And for a bit, we were struggling to break them down for the first 10, 20 minutes. It was actually quite hard. So just pump it long and see what happens. What is the worst that's going to happen? They're going to win the ball back and
and then we'll win it back immediately anyway because they're shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it annoyed me a little bit.
Right. Ollie, second. Who is it?
Second loser. One of the things that I had as a winner was the youth. And one of the things I have as a loser is the youth. And that might be a weird thing to say because of so many players getting like good opportunities and things, but like this was a demolition job on a team that basically shouldn't be in the Premier League, and we scored three quarters of our goals within 20 minutes, and that was all in the first half. And so to see that the longest time that an academy graduate got was what was it? It was Tyreek George got 20 minutes, right? So he came on about 68, 70 minutes, something like that. So he got 20, 25 minutes. And then everyone else got like peanuts. When in reality, Southampton were so bad that we could have probably made wholesale changes for all youth players and given everyone a half at the half. And yeah, maybe Southampton would have gotten back into the game, scored 1, maybe even 2. But if you're not going to bring, like, and I can understand not necessarily bringing on someone like Mueko who's like 17 years old. I get that. But a player like Achiampong could play a half against Southampton, right? Because they're not good. And Southampton, Achiampong is easily better than any player Southampton have at the moment. I'm sorry, that's just true. And so for me, for him to only see like 7 minutes or whatever, instead of getting a whole half when we were 3-0 up at half time, for me, that's just really disappointing.
Funnily enough, I've got to go straight for my third loser because you've kind of both said it. Enzo Maresca, post game though, post game. Because remember the last time when I said that he should just skip these post game press conferences and just put out a statement saying on to the next game. Should have listened, mate. Should have listened. Because look, Maresca on Chelsea fans voicing their frustration with Jorgensen. My message to Philippe was, if you play a long ball, I will change you. They have to follow the plan. And him on youngsters coming off. Probably there were too many young players at the end. The Chelsea Academy has always been a good one. We have already many players like Colwill, and hopefully in the future we can have more. Look, on Jorgensen, you can't tell your goalkeeper he must play up from the back or face the bench. I'm sorry. Look, you got to trust him. Yeah, whatever he's trying, if he's trying to protect him or what, I don't know, but you got to trust the man. Got to trust him to make the right decision, because there were moments in the game where he had no options. He had nothing. So he hesitated on the ball, as you would. And if you want to build from the back, look, fine. I'm not the biggest fan, but fine. But forcing your keeper into it with a play short or your dropped ultimatum, that's just stupid. Let him assess the situation and trust him. Because otherwise, we've got to play it from the back. I'll pass it straight to a Southampton player as an example. He didn't, but imagine, come on. And for the youngsters, you brought on George in the 80th, the 68th minute, a Champong and a Mugu in the 83rd, and finally Muka in the 90th minute. And I've probably pronounced his name wrong. I'm terrible with this.
Mweka. I think that's
Mweka. You made, look, Enzo, you made those changes. Don't talk them down. Don't. They handled the occasion fine. This wasn't throwing them into the deep end against Liverpool. It was a comfortable, at the time, 3-0 lead against a struggling Saints side. Let's not act like this was a monumental risk. They did well. I was very happy to see them get their minutes. I'm sure they were absolutely buzzing to get minutes for Chelsea in a Chelsea shirt at Stamford Bridge.
Let's just Premier League game as well.
Exactly. Let's be happy. Come on.
And the thing is, it makes me feel a bit like Maresca's feeling the pressure, because I think he wouldn't necessarily have. I think if we were 2-0 up in the last sort of dying minutes of the game, I don't think he brings on a single youth player.
No. Right, but Berth, final loser, please.
A quick one, really, but the atmosphere, Stamford Bridge.
I think, probably the protest didn't help.
Yeah, no, it didn't, but it just, it's not, it's quiet, isn't it? Everyone's getting on each other's backs. Not a nice atmosphere at the moment, but if we get another win under our belt, it might change again. And but I just thought the crowd weren't helping Jorgensen and defence, and that first 20 minutes, you could almost hear a pin drop. It was that sort of that cagey,
tense, wasn't it?
Yeah, very tense, very tense. But eventually when we got a few goals, it seemed a bit better. But atmosphere for me.
Right, Ollie, round us off.
I mean, I like to put a team on when they're really bad, and Southampton are my final loser, because
they suck.
My God, they suck. They are unequivocally one of the worst Premier League teams of all time. I'm just young enough to not really remember how bad Derby were, so this is easily the worst Premier League team I have ever seen. And that says a lot, considering that I thought I was going to be saying that for a while about Sheffield United the last time they were back up in the Premier League. And Southampton have just eclipsed that completely. They are a horrible side. They probably came up a season too early. And they'll be going down, and that's the only way the Saints are marching at the moment.
You know what? I actually do remember 07. I was about 14 when Derby were in the Premier League.
Yeah, see, it was before I was fully watching football all the time, so I wasn't clued in massively on the other teams that weren't Chelsea in the league.
No,
and I was about 8, 9, something like that.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, just didn't see enough of them.
What about emojis? I'm so sorry. Chris, you're not here, but I went with a shrug because we did what was expected. I was like, yeah, okay.
Much the same reason I've gone for the thumbs up, because I think it was a performance that will hopefully buoy confidence and stuff. It's more than, for me, a shrug, because I feel like for me something like a 2-0 would have been a shrug. It's you got the job done, on to the next one. But at least it looked emphatic enough.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Bert.
I've got a thumbs up as well. Me and Ollie in sync
Wow,
tonight.
nice. I like that.
Yeah, we go.
Nice. Well, there we go. Moving to Lion of the Week, because we have to check in on the picks. Chris went with Palmer. Oh, that's why he ducked the show. No, straight away why he ducked. I went with Pedro Neto, which isn't bad. Ollie, you went with Sancho, and the Will went Cucurella. Now, who gets that out of Cucurella and the Neto?
Neto.
Oh,
I'd probably say Neto, yeah.
I'll take.
Neto.
That's my first win since the Morecambe FA Cup. Oh dear, I've had a shocker.
I don't think I've won it. Don't worry, Mikey.
You last won against Fulham. You were on a hot streak. You had 3 decent ones. Who's the actual who was the actual Lion of the Week? Enzo?
Yeah, it's got to be Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, I'd say Enzo or Pedro Neto, to be fair.
Do you know what's wild? That's Enzo's back-to-back Lion of the Week performances. Come on, Enzo. Come on.
Yeah. Do you know what? And you didn't even have to get divorced this time.
No, which is always nice.
Good for him.
You know, yeah.
Good for well done, Enzo.
Yeah.
Well done.
Let's have a look. So we don't have a game this weekend because we kind of did that thing where we lost in the FA Cup, so we get a week off. So no spotlight. That's why we're doing a mailbag special on Monday. And of course,
yay!
and of course, please, listeners, send your questions in. Please, we love those mailbag questions.
Well, listen, this is your opportunity now. If you're listening to this, if you're on a walk somewhere, maybe you're walking your dog or you've got your phone out. Obviously, you've got to be in a safe place. Not if you're driving. Don't do that. If you've got your phone out and you're listening to the show right now, send us a question through. We might answer it.
Exactly. On Sunday, Chelsea women take on Brighton. Why Brighton really are the theme right now for our Chelsea teams, aren't they? So we'll be playing Frank Kirby. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right. So Quaresma's questions. I have 2 questions, and this one I don't know how to pronounce your name. It could be G Nelsons. It could be GN3LSONZ. I don't know, but they did ask. I was at the game and the protest. What do you think will happen from this protest?
Nothing. Nothing. That's just nothing ever happens.
I think it has to be continuous. I think, and the voice has to be focused on what they want. Obviously, because I know there's a lot of people saying there's multiple. Some were questioning like they less about the directors. The sporting director side, I think, is quite the important part for me, and the price rises, because we kind of forget how ticket prices are just going skyrocketing now, and people are just literally being pushed out. They can't afford it because it is insane, some of the price of tickets.
Yeah, but that's not just like us either.
I'm very pissed about, especially like subscriptions. And you see the subscription costs for TNT, Sky Sports each time they go up, and you're like, really?
It's why every time I hear that thing, like a bit like Boehly was saying in that conference, like that would be such a good idea. Like it did, because everyone would pay for that. Everyone would.
Yeah.
Do you think people like streaming the games on shitty websites where they don't see all the action all the time and like it's unreliable and all of that? It's not because they don't want to pay for a good service. It's because they can't. So
it is insane.
If you're giving them the opportunity, people will stop pirating the games. It will stop overnight. But with the protest, I really like that people went out there to make their voices heard, because I think that's really important. And I think there's a lot of good that can come from the protests. But like you say, Mikey, I think it's got to be a continuous process with it, because I think otherwise it's just going to look like Chelsea fans are being a bit spoiled, like saying, "Oh, well, you're third in the league. What's that to do? Like what's that got to do with anything? Why are you upset?" Yeah. And it just feels a bit like there are definitely proper grievances around the new ownership that we need to make ourselves heard about, because what else can you do as a fan?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
let's not let that get lost in just this. Having this be a one and done sort of thing. If we're going to do protests, let's do it.
Yeah, and Andy would be interested to know what we think on how the crowd how they reacted, let's say, for when we were playing slow out the back, because apparently it might not have come across well on the TV, but he felt that the reaction changed in the game and they started being a bit more proactive and on the pace. I think Chris said on it, didn't it? It's boring. It's boring football. Yeah. That's the thing.
I'm never going to criticise the fans for willing your team forward.
Yeah, score, pass forward. Yeah, it's like,
but at the same time, it's like I think that it maybe is a question of like what they did wasn't wrong, but the way they went about it maybe wasn't quite right.
Ooh,
But at the
okay.
same time, they paid their money for their tickets,
Mm,
right? So it's
yeah.
like, well, really, it's up to you how you want to sit there. But if you'd rather sit there and sort of boo us when we're playing out slow rather than trying to like get some energy into the side, I don't know. Maybe there's a better way to go about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Right, so that means we are going to finish up with Lone Army Carousel, the end of show game.
It's my first one in a while. I forgot
You
to
know
play.
what? Chris was on a 2-game winning streak. Well, that's over today. It's over. And today's category is you guys all suck ass because the Premier League has witnessed some historically dreadful seasons. And there's teams that just, the point totals were shocking. But I want you to name the 15 unique clubs that have endured the worst single season hauls in Premier League history. So there's a little twist to this because I've said unique there. Some clubs were so bad, I'm not going to name them, but they made the list multiple times and to a point where the top 10 was like 6 teams. And I was like, I can't do this. So that team will only count once. And then I'll read out the multiple seasons that they finished with shit points.
Okay, so there's not many teams then really that we can say.
Well, there's 15. These are all
Yeah,
15.
okay.
Yeah. But obviously
Okay.
one team did it multiple times. Well, multiple teams have done it. So it's like, yeah, you get the point. So,
Okay.
right. Premier League era. So that's 1992. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go to, because you know what? You've just said your first time in a while. Berth, name me a team that's shit.
Derby.
11 points, the worst ever so far.
Yeah. Sheffield United.
16 points in 23-24.
Sunderland.
Sunderland, and they're the reason that we're doing this list.
Yeah. I thought
02,
so.
03, 19 points. 05, 06, 15 points. 16, 17, 24 points. Yeah, they're pretty much exclusively the reason we're doing multiples.
Jesus. Huddersfield.
Huddersfield Town, 2018-19, 16 points. It's like doing Eurovision, this.
Yeah.
16 points. Oh.
I'm gonna go Portsmouth.
2009, 2010, 19 points, including a 9-point deduction. I think they're the only Premier League team to go in administration, I think, whilst in the Premier League.
Do you know what? They had a bad year one year. Aston Villa.
17 points in 2015-16.
Ooh, I'm gonna go for give a risk. Southampton.
Southampton. No. Ollie, you could steal it. You could steal it.
I'm going to go with a Premier League relegation mainstay. I hope my wife's not listening. Norwich City.
Norwich City. You mean 2019-20 when they got 21 points, and then in 21-22 when they did 1 point better with 22.
Oh dear, that's not great.
Imagine that going. You say to them, you're going to get promoted next season after you got relegated, yeah, and you're going to get a better point total. Oh, 1. Oh my word! Right, you could. Right, well, Chris is near. Sorry, Chris got the win there. Well done, Chris. You weren't even turned up, but we do have a winner. Oh, Ollie, you've won. You could have had Blackpool 2010-11 with 39 points.
Could you have West Brom? Because that was my next. That was my
26 points in 02-03. Cardiff City 34 points in 18-19. Hull City in 16-17 with 34. Borough 28 points in 16-17. What a shit season that was. Stoke City in 17-18 with 33. Swindon Town 93-94 with 30. And finally, Watford 99-2000 with 24 points. Yeah, the 18-19 season sucked. Well, 16-17. Bloody hell.
Have you noticed it seems a little bit like those points tallies are getting lower and lower. Like the newer,
well,
like
Southampton will be on it this year.
Yeah, like when Southampton get relegated, it will be like they'll be on it this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone who comes up next year will be on it next year.
All 3 teams registered record lows in that 16-17 campaign. Borough, Hull, and Sunderland. Wow, that's bad. Whoa. Wow. Imagine being a team that finished just outside the place, and that's it.
Isn't that going to be the case this season as well, though, with Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich? Aren't they also going to all have it's something like between them, they have the lowest points of the 3 relegated teams combined ever.
Oh, it wouldn't be. Oh, well, there we go. Listen to this. Watford finished on 46 clear. We won the title that year, and Spurs finished second somehow. Don't know how they did that.
You know what? That feels really unfortunate. Remember that one year? I think was it West Ham who got relegated with over 40 points.
Was that the Defoe side, like 0304?
I can't remember, but there
Oh,
was a team that got relegated with over 40 points, and you just think like now when a team gets like 20, and you think, well, considering the competition, they might stay up. Like
I'm
it's
gonna have
so
to check this
cutthroat
out.
now.
I'm pretty no 0203, not 0304, because then we got Glenn Johnson. I remember. Where is it? Let's have a look. 40 points. Yeah, 42 points. Bloody hell!
Crazy,
Oh,
isn't it?
Wow.
that's such a shame. Oh man. Right, listeners, we are at the end of another episode. Of course, I just want to remind you of our partnership with Head in the Game, the mental health charity using football to support wellbeing and community. Check them out, headinthegame.co.uk. Treat yourself well. We will be back on Monday. We'll be here. Mailbag special. No weekend action with the men's team, but we will be talking the women's team though. So we're looking forward to that against Brighton. So yeah, drop us some questions and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible. So till then, that is us. You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.